everyone. Welcome to another interview. Tonight, we have Natalee Clarke Richards. She's a motivational speaker and a certified professional life coach at Love Out Loud. She supports professional women who sometimes feel exhausted and overwhelmed in their professional and personal life. Natalee provides her proven transformation strategies so that they can feel energetic, fulfilled, and gratified to become the best version of themselves and live a life they love to talk about. As usual, my co-hosts will be doing the interview, so take it away, Chris.
Thanks, Janice, and welcome to the Jamaican chat, Natalee.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
Great. First, we'd like to get the folks to know a little about you before we get into your great biography here. Tell us a little about your Jamaican roots, your family and the like.
Okay, so I was born in Kingston, Jamaica, and I grew up in the hills of St. Anne, close to where Bob Marley was born. My family lived there, so that's where I spent most of my childhood years. I went to primary school there, and then I passed my common entrance exam. I believe that was probably like the second to last year where they had common entrance. But anyway, I passed that exam, and I went to a prestigious high school in Brownstown, St. Anne called St. Hilda's Diocesan High School, an all-girls Anglican high school. And then I moved to live with my biological father in the north coast of Runaway Bay, St. Anne, in the touristy area. So that's pretty much, I grew up in St. Anne.
Okay, that's neat. So, but you also immigrated. And what was that like? What was what the age and what, I know what it was for me. I always interested in see what it was for other people and how they make that journey.
Yeah, so my immigration journey is not like many, at least let me tell you my experience. So I moved to America when I was 20 years old. So my mom and my stepfather already lived here in South Florida, and they made the transition so smooth for us that I'm always in gratitude to them. So when we moved here, we moved in a really nice house, neighborhood, our neighbors were fantastic, and we went to school not far from where we lived. So my experience wasn't as traumatic as some stories I've heard from other people.
Right.
The transition was probably more, was different.
Yeah, that's really neat. I'm glad somebody had that kind of experience. So, now you're in a different culture. How did you go about adopting? You're 20, this is college age. How did you go about adopting to this new country and culture?
So now that was the challenge for me because, I didn't come here as a young one. So that's where I had a lot of challenges adapting to the culture because now I'm an adult and I'm here. I started college like shortly after I moved here, and it was strange because in Jamaica I was used to a certain way of life, especially how you speak to adults and how you converse with people older than you, your teachers and all that. So I was very well mannered in that round, and people thought I was strange when I would say yes, miss, or no, sir, or all of that. So it was weird when my teacher would say, you can drop the miss, and all of that. I'm thinking, I need to be respectful. And another aspect of it was I started working. So that was an even greater challenge for me because in Jamaica, I grew up where you learn how to be respectful, like I said, but that meant for me to be quiet. So I was this quiet person in corporate America, and people were intimidated by that. And I didn't know. I had a VP of a company I worked for, she called me one day in a meeting and she told me, your team is intimidated by your silence. Like they need you to be more expressive and share and be more open. And I was flabbergasted. I'm like, I thought being quiet was, okay, but no, people wanted to hear what I had to say, but I was so shy and soft-spoken because, I wanted to be respectful of my managers and everyone, and that, for me, that meant I needed to be quiet, but it was a different culture in America. You needed to be outspoken, you needed to let your voices and your concerns heard, and so that was a transition for me.
Wow, I can see. So here you are. From the book, I guess you were an MBA type. Tell us a little about your work life, your early career work life.
Yeah, so I started out in banking, and most of my career in corporate America is in banking and the legal field. So
okay.
I am in this space of corporate America where you need to be an outspoken person, and here I am, very quiet, and people are like, "Oh, what is up with her?" Like, we don't know what she's thinking. And I'm thinking that is supposed to be how you show up, but it was quite not so. And so I thank God to my dear college friend who knew that I had something to contribute, and I am competent of the roles I had. So she would always tell me it's okay to share what speak what you want to say, tell them how you feel about your team or whatever project you're on, So that was interesting. And even though I had an MBA and I'm very competent, I was so reserved in it. I didn't want people to feel like offended by me or intimidated because, here I am, my manager is a high school graduate, and here I am with an MBA. I definitely don't want her to feel, overwhelmed or that I'm, too much.
Yes. Well, your fine book here, Love Out Loud. It's somewhat of a biographical story, I assume, right? Where it's indicated here's a person who is uncertain in themselves, not have much confidence, and being able to make that journey to become an empowered person. Tell us a little about that journey and what's some of the genesis of that.
Yeah, Love Out Loud is definitely a compilation of my life experiences. Like I mentioned previously, I have a dear college friend who, we worked together in groups and teams in school, for 4 years. So she knew of my competence. And she's like, why is this girl hiding? Like, why doesn't she want to step up and step forward and speak? And so every year she would, there are certain times of the year she would call me and she would ask me some questions and I would share them with her. And she's like, okay, so are you ready to take on yourself? And I'm like, what does that even mean? I guess no. And then she would leave me alone. And then another year would come by and she'd say, so how did you make out with these things that you wanted to do with yourself? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still here, not doing them. And she would ask me some more questions, and she would not stop until she enrolled me into this personal development journey. And I'm so grateful to her for doing so, because that's where I rediscovered myself. And I didn't realize that there were so many self-limiting beliefs that I had from growing up in Jamaica that I was using to run me here in America. When I say run me, I was using them to tell my story. Quiet, shy girl was because, I grew up with adults who would say, children must be seen and not heard. So here I am, an adult, still holding that I should be seen but not heard. So let me not share how I'm thinking. So I had to, unlearn all those stories that I was using to show up in my life daily as an adult. And that self-discovery just changed everything about my life in a good way. And that's how I'm now able to show up and speak and let my voice heard and command presence and let you listen to me. Like I have something to say. So here it is.
Amen. I'm pretty sure right now we have some parents and teachers sitting on the edge of their seat. They may have teenagers in their lives that they don't know how to handle, and they don't know how to empower. What would you say, what wisdom gems would you want to leave with these people to give them to empower their young person that they do not have a similar journey like yourself?
Geesh, this is a big one, let me tell you, and a very important one. Just before COVID in February of 2020, I had the opportunity to speak at a high school here in South Florida, and I was blown away because I was so familiar with some of the stories. And most of these teenagers, they have Caribbean parents, so I knew exactly what they were going through. And so many of them felt invisible and unheard. And, you know, they would tell me, Miss, you don't understand. My father does not want to hear what I have to say. Or my mom says, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And so I know that feeling because I grew up like that. And, I encouraged them. And I said, okay, so here's how you can talk to your parents in this way so they hear you. So don't, I was giving them pointers on how to come up because parents now they're going to think you're rude because now you're talking back and this is unexpected. This is not, so I was sharing with them. But what I would say to parents is, please listen to the young ones. They do have a lot to say. And when you have this open conversation with them, you're building trust. You're building their trust. So instead of them going outside of your home to hear the experiences or to get attention from other people, you give it because as parents, we have the experiences. We know what they're up against. So be open with them and hear their side and then, share your story. And it's okay to share the experiences, the good and the bad, so they know that they can relate to you. And so when they're in similar experiences, they'll either, one, remember the conversations that they've had with their mom, dad, or whomever, and two, they'll come to you and share those experiences, and then you can guide them because so many of them now need guidance, and they're seeking it from elsewhere instead of in their home.
Incredible. You're so right. You must feel so strongly about this idea that you decide to go out and you write a book, because I know what it takes to write a book, Love Out Loud. To be able to do that, to have now to impact the community around you. Tell us about how you made that decision to write and then to publish like you have.
Yeah, so I'm a big advocate for journaling. Like over the years, I didn't even realize that I actually journaled my book. The chapters are parts of my journal. So I would always write my experiences that I'm having, and so that just became the book, Love Out Loud. So many times so many people have reached out to me. They've read the book and they have similar experiences or stories, except they have not healed from them. And so I just wanted to share my story and said it's okay to share your story. It's okay to have this dialogue. And I just really wanted to empower other women to heal from them and share and fuel positivity and impact their own families and their own communities in doing so.
I love the title of your book, Natalee. Love Out Loud. It's very action oriented. Is there a backstory how you came about, given your quiet nature, come about with such a title?
Oh yes, it's definitely, and it's all based on my experiences in Jamaica because I grew up where I knew my family loved me. I mean, I know this, but for some reason, they had this repressed emotion where they wouldn't say it. And I'm always thinking, like, why are we afraid to say, I love you? Like, that is okay. Like, that is such a powerful way of having someone see and know and just impacting their lives. And so, I have my biological father. I don't think I've ever heard him say I love you, but I know he loves me. and so I'm I went on this mission to say, listen, it's okay to love out loud. It's okay to express your love in your home, in your community, and let's cause a ripple effect to combat so much of what's going on in the world. I feel like if we do this, we would have less devastation, in my opinion.
That's wonderful. This is great. You've also structured the book like a workbook of sort, because it seemed like you want to maximize the learning opportunity. So you have the chapter, then at the end of the chapters are a series of questions to help to reinforce the teaching. Talk to us a little about that, the style that you choose to deliver this content.
Yes, like I said before, I'm a big advocate for journaling, and so I wanted the reader each chapter they've read, if it jogs something in your memory, for them to write it down and for them to express it there on paper in that moment. Because oftentimes, we'll say, oh yeah, I'll journal later, but life gets in the way and then you never do it. So if you're reading the book, there goes the pages, and I even give you a pen. Just write it right there and then. Don't wait for later. So that's just how I structured it, and the impact that I wanted for people to get into the habit of writing their thoughts out on paper in that moment.
Wonderful. It's good content, but at times people, they have so much distractions in their lives that they may not want to, they may not, I get that book, Nate. I want you to give us 3 reasons, 3 takeaways that the promise of this book delivers. That's to motivate folks to really say, gee, I need to get this. It can change my life, the life of my family, the life of generations in my family.
Yes, and throughout this process, I learned that we don't read enough. So I would say that the book allows for you to own your own experiences and reflect on them, and how you may be using them when you show up in your life every day. And know that it's also okay to have these experiences, because they help you to grow. And if you allow them, they'll help you to grow and not hinder you. And thirdly, if you ever get the opportunity to be in someone else's space, always uplift them and not tear them down. Let them leave you thinking that this conversation was worthy. I have grown from it. I have value, and this will make me better. So I just wanted to share that. And lastly, definitely what I want you to get away from this book is to take time for your own self-preservation. Meditate, exercise, eat healthy, read, journal, whatever you need to do, and love out loud.
Wow. Love yourself first, and self-care needs to be a part of your journey. So, boy, it's been out there, for a little bit. What kind of feedback have you gotten on this wonderful book, Love Out Loud?
So most people share how the book has inspired them to take action, which is amazing, because if you take inspired action, you can only better yourself. So I'm very excited for the people who have shared that with me, that, because I've read your book, I decided to lose weight. I decided to start my own business. I decided to heal relationships that I didn't even realize I was struggling along with them. And most importantly, self-love and personal development. And that's really, really heartwarming to me that those are the takeaways thus far.
This is great. I think this book has clearly opportunity to move beyond this paper to an online course, given that we're in the COVID times. Do you have any plans to do that type of move it in that kind of direction?
You are so on point here. Yes.
Okay.
I am also a certified trainer of the Jack Canfield Success Principles. So a lot of those I use in my everyday life, and I train and I coach on them. So yes, I do plan on incorporating all of those experiences and my competence into an online course, and an actual 8-week online course. And I'm telling you, it will be impactful and amazing, and people will get value from it. So stay tuned for that.
Wonderful. We in the time of lifetime learning, and boy, these are the kind of skills that are going to make our lives much more enhanced. So we know that, given what we've heard from you, we know that there are more bubbling there in that active pen of yours. What can we expect, from you as far as, sharing more of your life wisdom?
Oh, certainly. By now you'll hear that I am a writer because I journal every day. So I am working on another book, and it will be in the realm of mindset, because that was such a big part of my life. Just mindset and how you show up every day, the things that you think about, you bring about. So I want to write about that and expand on that. So stay tuned for that too.
Okay, neat. And finally, let's see, any major wisdom piece that you'd like to get across to our audience that we haven't been able to share yet?
I would say, we all have our own journey and our own experiences. And so, it's nothing new. When you have the opportunity to communicate with someone, let it be uplifting. Let it be joyful. Let it be a joyful experience and add to their growth and to their life. And let us really, really be impactful and take action to causing a ripple effect of love and gratitude, because I believe the most powerful of them all is love.
Amen. So, boy, I know some people are going to want to get the book. You want to tell us how we can actually get a copy of this fine work?
Absolutely. So my book is on Amazon. You can type in Love Out Loud and you'll see it. And if people want to get it directly from me, of course, I will sign a copy for you. All you have to do is go to loveoutloud.llc. And if you just send me an email or communicate with me somehow, I will most certainly get it out to you.
Wonderful.
Nice. So to learn more about Jamaican Diaspora, visit Jamaican Diaspora. To learn about Chris Daly, visit digital2grow.com. And to learn more about Natalee Clarke Richards, visit loveoutloud.llc. It was a pleasure having you, and we will talk to you when the next book comes out, okay? So that's a date. Okay, Natalee?
Yes.
So bye now.